Now, this is a group that we expect the defense to lead. When we were doing all of our hurry up hot seats, we were like, all right, it's just going to be a Wisconsin team. You know, it might be running back by committee instead of Jonathan Taylor, but they're going to lean on their defense. So the cross division game, we've got an at Michigan on there, and we've also got an Indiana for the Badgers. Wisconsin at 5.5. Barton, how are you attacking this one?
I think this is an old school Wisconsin team. I think this is a classic Wisconsin team. It's we've seen Wisconsin start to dabble a little bit in having playmakers on the outside, Quintez Cephas types. We've seen Wisconsin dabble a little bit in having a quarterback that you can trust, Jack Cohn. We've seen Wisconsin always with great running backs. Jonathan Taylor, the most recent example of that, who was fantastic and offered a lot of big play ability there. I think that Wisconsin this year, as I look at their roster, as I look at their strengths, I think it's going to be a conservative team that plays to the strength of which is absolutely far and away the defense. Might be as good a defense as there is in college football. I think it's good, and I think the numbers will bear that out because the way Wisconsin will play and protect it. We're back to a running back by committee. We're back to a quarterback that we don't know a lot about, that we probably don't trust yet. Graham Mertz, former 4-star talented kid, but we don't really we've got nothing yet that's a proof of concept there. And so I think this team is still probably the best team in the West. I think this team is capable of beating anyone in the West. Let me see. Their schedule, their cross division is Michigan, Indiana. Mm-hmm. All right. So they're capable of probably beating every team on their schedule. Ultimately, though, I did go under the 5.5 at 5-3. I feel like there is enough vulnerability here, like there's not a big enough gap between Wisconsin and everybody else to where, hey, like especially this year where maybe there's a few injuries, maybe there's a few COVID issues. I just think this is a team you can kind of, toss in the hat along with the rest of the sort of upper half Big Ten West teams, and Michigan and Indiana, who it plays, sort of fit that bill. And it just might come out with 3 wins and might be 5-3 and still be number 1 in the division, or 3 losses rather. Might be 5-3, still be number 1 in the division. I have a hard time going 6-2 with this team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I spoiler alert for the rest of the episode, but like when we had our expert picks that were due this week that we had to put in for, our Big Ten predictions like we do normally in the off season. And my bold prediction for the Big Ten was that there wouldn't be a single team in the West with fewer than 3 losses because of kind of what Barton was just saying. I think that Wisconsin is the favorite to win it. I think Wisconsin could be the best team. I think that it's capable of beating everybody on its schedule. It's just everybody in this division. I don't think there's a very large gap between Wisconsin and the worst team in the division, let alone Wisconsin and Minnesota or Iowa or whoever you consider to be the second best team in the division. And I think that when you put that on top of the situation we find ourselves in where there are no bye weeks, everybody's playing one game after another, I think that in a division without an elite team, it's going to be difficult for an elite team to emerge. So when I look at the schedule, that road game at Michigan, that's not going to be easy, even though I don't have the highest of hopes for Michigan this year. A road game at Nebraska, that could be a difficult game early in the year. You get the Minnesota game at home late, but then you have to finish the year on the road against Iowa. And frankly, if I'm playing Iowa this year, I would rather play them now than at the end of the season when maybe they've figured out, their depth chart and all that kind of stuff and what they can do and who does what. So I look at it and I think 5-3 is very much a realistic part of it because I do think that, yes, like Barton was saying, the defense is fantastic, but there are a lot of questions on offense and there's a lot that they have to replace. And that was before the injury at quarterback made them turn to Graham Mertz, who frankly, we don't know about. So it's hard for me, even though he's a highly rated recruit. And I think that a lot of Wisconsin people are high on what he can be. I don't know if they're going to, let him loose and let him do things. I think we're going to see, like Barton was saying, a conservative approach. And I think that when you're conservative on offense and there's a lot of questions, your defense is going to help you win a lot of games, but it's hard to go undefeated. And plus, if we just look at Wisconsin the last few years, like Paul Chryst has been there now for 5 full seasons, and he's done a fantastic job. He's won at least 10 games in 4 of those 5 seasons. But only once in the entire time he's been there has he, not lost at least 2 games in conference play. So it's not like this is an invulnerable team. So when I look at all that stuff and I just look at the situation we're in this year, 5-3 seems more likely to me than 6-2.